Hi, guys. So, we are going to be talking about happiness being a choice. I wanted to tell you a little bit about my personal story and how I even got to this point. So, as I have been journeying through life, I've experienced many highs and lows. I definitely experienced a lot of lows that went into depression and drug use and really just reckless abandon. um, that was when I was a teenager. And as I was in a place where I was at a crossroads and I needed to make a decision. And I knew in that moment that I needed to choose something different. If I stayed along that path, it was going to not lead me to anything that I wanted to experience. So this is when I was 18. And in that moment, I decided, and the doctors at the time that I was working with wanted to put me on antidepressants, and I chose that I did not want to experience that. I wanted to go within, and I wanted to make a different choice. I did not want to live on antidepressants, and I didn't want to continue down the drug path. So, even at 18, I had this like inner knowing, this inner guidance that I was tapped into. So, I decided to really start to look within. And this process has been my journey of creating a better life. So, as I started to go along this journey, I started to learn the tips and techniques that we're going to talk about over the next 30 days. I started to realize that everything that I was looking for outside of myself never was consistently making me happy. My relationship would only make me happy, in the beginning, or when my husband was only doing certain things, or following certain lines, or I was only happy when I was at a certain body weight, or I was only happy. It was like all these external factors, and it was really fleeting. And I just chased it and chased it and chased it. When I started to really tune in and to go within and to listen to my inner guidance, I really started to see that I could create happiness within, no matter what the external situation looked like. So, I will talk a little bit about this later on in the 30 days. My weight has fluctuated my entire life. I was at a point in my life where I was the smallest that I've ever been, so I'm probably 80 pounds lighter than where I am now. I have pictures to prove it. And I was miserable. I wasn't happy with who I was inside. I didn't love myself. I didn't love this being who is embodied. I didn't love who I was. So I thought that like being smaller would make me happy, but it didn't. Here I am sitting before you, 80 pounds heavier, and I actually love myself. Does that mean that I love the weight? No, obviously, I would love to be smaller, and that's a part of my journey this year, but I love who I am. So, I just want to talk to you about happiness being a choice and happiness not being an external condition, because the external conditions are constantly changing. No one can make you happy. Your body cannot make you happy. Like, you have to go within and decide, I'm going to be happy despite these things. So, what does that even look like? Like, how does that even look? So, let's just take relationship for example. In the moment, when you are arguing and you're frustrated with your partner, you're frustrated and you kind of like, maybe you're a little agitated, or you're at each other, or maybe it's a coworker. In that moment, you have a choice. You have a choice to take yourself out of the situation and not to engage further to create more drama. In that moment, when you're feeling tense and tight and you recognize this is not something I want to experience, you take yourself out of it, because all you're going to do in that moment of frustration is dig in, and the other person's going to dig in, and you're just going to create more drama. So, What does that look like with your body? In this moment, you get to decide, I want to love myself for where I am. I've been in this state for the last 2, 3, 5, 10 years. Maybe I need to love myself first, and then I can be happy. What does that look like with money? So right now, your financial situation could be a complete train wreck, but you get to decide how you're going to focus on it. Am I going to allow this to pull me down, or am I going to let myself raise the vibration of happiness? The interesting thing about it is when you allow yourself to choose happiness, no matter what your outer circumstances look like, as you continue to practice that happiness, over the next 30 days, you'll discover this. As your vibration raises, you actually are starting to align with different opportunities. Your relationship starts to improve. Your money situation starts to improve. You're going to feel better in your body. It's because you are changing from within. So, does this mean that I am sunshine and rainbows and unicorns all the time? Absolutely not. No, and my husband would like pop on here and say no. What this does mean is that I am predominantly happy. I am predominantly optimistic. I am mostly looking for the silver lining. Through my journey of discovery, of self-discovery, I've learned tools and techniques to help me shift out of the moment. I have bumps in the road just like you do. Where I am now in my life is, though, I understand that I have a choice in how I respond to those bumps in the road. I know that in that moment, I get to choose. Maybe it's not complete happiness. Maybe in the moment, it's just a little hopefulness. Maybe it's just surrendering to what is. Maybe it's redirecting my thoughts. Maybe it's putting on some music and raising my vibration. I just don't let the circumstances overwhelm me like they used to. I am coming from a place from within. So over the next 30 days, what I want you to realize is this is not about being perfect. This is not about fake happiness, like putting a smile on your face and just trying to be happy as you can to fake it. This is about really going within, really looking at who you are within, that being that is inside of you that wants to shine brightly. That is the person that I want you to connect to. That is where I want you to create happiness from. So, whatever your outer circumstances are, with this disclaimer, if you are in an abusive relationship, this is your call to get help. I always like to put that disclaimer in there if someone happens to float into my experience. If you are in a situation where your body is not in a place where you love it, I want you to try to, for the next 30 days, make peace with where you are and be happy in spite of it. Find something else to be happy about. So over the next 30 days, I've worked with some amazing coaches. They have given you some beautiful tips on how to create more happiness, more love, more joy, and how to look within. I cannot wait for this experience with you. So, happiness is a choice. From this point forward, in each moment, you are going to decide if you want to continue with the thoughts that you're thinking, with the actions that you're taking, with the words that you're speaking. You get to decide what you want to create next.